Looks like looks like we're streaming. There's always this awkward beginning of any video. Hey, are we live? Are we live? I think we're live. I'm gonna try something really weird because this is the first time I've done this with music. See if the music's actually playing on here for you. How to find out. Right there. Hey, so here's the thing. I'm incredibly excited to be back on the mic. The mic is flaming. Just imagine fire coming out of this mic. And that would be Pass the Torch podcast. I've learned an incredible amount over this last year. Just have. And I've learned an incredible amount, when Pass the Torch podcast first started out, until now. And it's been a wild ride. It's been pretty fun. Definitely been able to meet a lot of interesting people. And you know what? That's not going to stop. We're going to continue to do that going into the end of 2020. What a year. What a year has 2020 been. Absolutely just insane. It doesn't matter where you are on the face of the planet, you have been touched by COVID-19 in some way, shape, or form. And God help that gal or girl and guy who came out of a cave just yesterday, Saturday, and they thought they were going to the club, and no, it's not going to go like that. It's pretty intense. And 2020 is not over yet. So with everything that we're feeling, 2020 has whatever is gonna happen, there's still more. And I think that's what's absolutely incredible about it. But I hope since this whole adventure, if I can call it that, in March has started, and leading up till now, you've been able to build in some resiliency. You've been able to focus on those things that matter and double down on them, and be able to just realign your energy. Because that's one thing that COVID-19 has helped me do. Have the things that I really want to do in life, ambitious goals. One of them being this podcast. I've been doing this podcast since 2015. And, it's been a nights and weekends endeavor. And sometimes I'm not getting podcast episodes out. The focus is what I do on a daily basis, and that's go to work and get to serve my country. And if not that, even more so at home, it's taking care of mama and the kids. So you will see this thing fluctuate, and that's the way it's going to be, because those are my focuses. Those are my main priorities. But when I can, I absolutely get on the mic and make sure I'm bringing the people that I would love to talk to, whether it's in a bar. I'm not really in a bar anymore these days, but great conversations, whether you're in a bar, in a church, in a library, at a school, passing by. That's what we're trying to bring to you through Pass the Torch podcast. And it's Pass the Torch, right? So anyone who's been familiar with some of the work I've been doing, that I've started, again, this was also a while back, but really in 2014, Mentorship started off as a nonprofit organization about helping people reach their goals. And we decided that being a nonprofit was great, but we want to compete and we want to be on the world stage one day as a company that is helping people, but also is able to create wealth and dish it back out into the world. And our ambition, our great ambition, and our goal is to be able to do that. And the only way in my mind I thought you could do that, and I still hold that opinion, is to get out there and be able to compete and be able to distribute that wealth, and not have to ask permission. That's like a big thing right now, is asking for permission to be great, or waiting your turn to be able to execute on the vision and the goals that you have. And I'm all for being humble, but yes, and there is a but, I'm also for being ambitious. I'm also for being unapologetically you and going out there, as long as it's not hurting anybody, right? Don't hurt nobody, but go out there and follow your dreams, follow your goals, and take care of business. That's where I'm at. And I'll have this conversation with anybody on a daily basis. And the people that I like to bring on this podcast, they follow that mantra to a certain degree, right? They're all doing things in their fields. They're ambitious in their own right, and they are trying to change the game. And that's what gets me excited. It gets me out of bed every single day. I love what I do, and I would not be Lavontay if I wasn't doing a podcast on my nights and weekends. I wouldn't be me if I wasn't trying to build this company on my nights and weekends. I love the word discover, and I just had this conversation with people that I respect very much about what discovering something means. That means to uncover something that's already there. And I'm a philosopher to a certain degree, but I love the thinking behind that. Like, you have a gift, right? Every single one of us has a gift in some shape or form, and we need to understand what that is so that we can really live life to what our purpose is. I do believe that. And again, anything that I'm saying, like, we'll have people who agree with it, and we'll have people who say, Lavontay, you're absolutely out of your mind. And I'm all for that conversation. Let's have that conversation, but let's do it respectfully, because when it comes down to when you got to be disrespectful, and you got to name call, and you got to be aggressive all the time, sometimes that's called for. But if you're doing it every single time, one, you lose your credibility, and two, I don't think you actually have an argument. Again, one man's opinion. But that's, again, why I like Pass the Torch podcast. Why I like a podcast about going and talking to people who aren't just people who have opinions. They're not just people who are talking, but these are people who are out there and they're doing the daggone thing. They're doing it on a daily basis, and I can't argue with that. So, again, something that always, I always make sure I'm focused on career and family, and not in that order necessarily, family and career. And, I have the conversation with my wife a lot, like, okay, how are we doing? What are we doing? That litmus test. Because again, if you follow the Silicon Valley way of doing it, it's not necessarily one size fits all. Again, and why I like talking on Pass the Torch podcast is because there's certain steps, whether you're doing a business, because that's really who the audience that I'm focused on right now is entrepreneurs. But we're casting out to talking to that cybersecurity audience, that not only entrepreneurs, but the athletes in cybersecurity, and then something that's near and dear to my heart, but the military community as well. So those are the first few audiences that we're really going to be focusing on, whether it's on a show and as part of the technology that you'll see as mentors. We're focused on entrepreneurs first, right? And can you be an entrepreneur within your organization? Absolutely. That's called an entrepreneur. So if that's the situation you're in right now, you can't start a company on your own. You don't have an idea necessarily. You might have that motivation to do it one day. stretch those muscles, right? Get in the gym, the entrepreneur gym, and be an intrapreneur is what some people are calling it. So I'll use that term. And that is using those ideas inside of your company or organization to make it better. Okay, so you can be an entrepreneur, you have ideas, and that's going to help you move it along, regardless of what industry you're in. So again, one thing, it's been weighing on my heart, right? So again, I can have these conversations on politics. I choose not to in this venue, but absolutely we can talk about it. Again, major in political science. I love the process to a certain degree, right? Because the American experiment is the best we have, even with all its imperfections. But here's the thing: if we're not talking to each other, and I'm going a lot of places with this conversation, but if we're not talking to each other, then we're not doing anything. And we're doing something, but we're not being productive, right? So you can pick my words apart, and that's one thing I'm saying. We are just picking each other apart. We're just trying to find where that person is wrong every single step of the conversation, instead of figuring out where the common ground is. That's what hurts, man. Like, you know, what I've realized is we are so much more alike. We're so much more alike than we are different. Regardless of what letter is next to your name, even if you're an elected official, if you're voting, so please vote, regardless of what side you're on. That vote, okay? But after that, after we cast ballots, we go back to our homes, we look at our families, and if we're throwing stones at each other this entire time, we're gonna end up in a worse situation. So I would challenge you, and it's hard because I have to do it for myself, right? Listen to each other. Try to find out, even if you don't agree, where this other person is coming from, what's going on in their lives, and how you're alike. All right, how you're alike. And if you think that you're not alike with any other human being, we'll start with the limbs and the ability to breathe oxygen. All right, if we got to get ridiculous like that, do you both breathe oxygen? We'll start there. All right, and that's what, again, pass the torch. It's focused on entrepreneurship right now, but at the end of the day, passing the torch. No, we're not talking about arson. No, we're not talking about rioting. We are talking about passing knowledge to each other. We're talking about passing the light to each other. We're talking about understanding where each other is coming from. And right now, where a lot of this civil discourse is happening is the inability to meet each other in the middle. The inability to even want to understand where the other person is coming from. And that is the most dangerous thing of all. And again, this is one man's opinion, but I get on here and I talk to you because this is far more than it is politics. But we got to understand that these things affect lives. So if we decide that the other person or the other side of the argument is just another side and not a human being, we're going to run into issues. All right. And so I won't talk your ears off. I'm definitely not trying to lecture. Just having a conversation with other human beings about why I started Pass the Torch podcast, why I want to continue talking to people who are out there, who are ambitious, who are starting things, whether it's outside of their organizations or inside of their organizations. And if the only thing, I don't mean to say it like that, but if you're simply starting just a conversation, that too is incredibly valuable, and I applaud you for that. If you just start that conversation towards figuring out where we're more alike than we are different, and how we can care about each other, especially in times like this. Because here's the thing, 2020, it ain't gonna last forever, okay? It's gonna be over. And every single one of us, we're gonna be responsible for accounting for how we conducted ourselves. And don't let it be this this situation where you feel like a zombie and you woke up and you're like, I don't know what happened. Take that pause, right where you stand right now, and say, have I been conducting myself in a way that I will be proud of to look back next year in 2021, where hopefully, man, this is like some Alice in Wonderland situation. And well, let me take that back. It's not a dream, okay? It's real. But hopefully by 2021, things are different. We can only hope. And if they're not, hopefully we have changed. Or even if the circumstances that we're living in are the same, COVID's still here, maybe it got worse, maybe it got better. The elections happened, and hopefully we've changed. That's something that we can affect, how we conduct ourselves. And again, I am talking from personal experience of that's really what it comes down to, is at our kitchen tables, within our families, we're able to affect that spirit. So that was Lavontay's rant of the day. But again, getting on here, kind of, talking to the group, Pastor Torch podcast it's been an off and on endeavor. And I've been talking to the team, been having meetings behind the scenes with my board of directors, with the team at large, and this is something that we can't just let fizzle out. We can't extinguish the fire of Pastor Torch podcast. So just want to get on here again. People are like, hey, he hasn't done a podcast in a while. I'll let you know it's coming back. And I would love for referrals for guests. Again, I'm focused on entrepreneurship, cybersecurity, the military and athletes, but not exclusively. So those are the 4 areas that Mentorship is really focused on right now. But anybody who has a story to tell and who wants to impart knowledge to make that generation that's coming after them better, that's what we're about. So I hope everybody's doing as well as you possibly can, especially during COVID season. And I look forward to talking to you all soon. Until then, this is Lavontay Santos reminding you to seek knowledge and pass the torch. I'm out of here.